Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel, and today I'm going to bring you my full review of Die My Love, the latest from director Lynne Ramsay, starring Jennifer Lawrence, Robert Pattinson, Lakeith Stanfield, Sissy Spacek, and Nick Nolte. And this follows a couple, Grace and Jackson, played by Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson, and their life in the rural countryside with their son as she grapples with an extreme case of postpartum depression. I think that pretty much sums up the movie, right? Well, I suppose in some ways, but I was excited for this one ever since its premiere at the Cannes Film Festival, and I kept hearing raves for Jennifer Lawrence's performance, and I think that she obviously is the reason you go see this movie, besides the director's name, because of course Lynne Ramsay has been making some really interesting movies over the course of her career. Very, very dark explorations of the human psyche, like We Need to Talk About Kevin, which is probably my personal favorite film of hers that I've seen, and of course a few years ago with You Were Never Really Here, I think, with Joaquin Phoenix. And so this definitely continues that streak. And I think that Jennifer Lawrence, as the star of this, absolutely carries. I think this is one of her better performances that she's given, especially in recent memory. I don't think she's going to get an Oscar nomination for this, maybe a Golden Globe, but she really does carry all this emotional weight and baggage with her character, and goes off to some crazy places, which I wasn't expecting, but also a little bit, because I knew that this is very much in the vein of recent movies like Night Bitch and If I Had Legs I'd Kick You, where you get to see the struggle of the mother, even though I think it's less about her being a parent than those other two, and I'll get into that. And Robert Pattinson is there to match her every step of the way. He's just, proving once again why he's such a great talent that we have in the industry. And I know he's talking about retiring at some point soon, but I really want to see this guy for another 10 years or so, because he is just so terrific. And their emotionally volatile and toxic dynamic is why you watch this movie. Because I was sucked in basically the whole time, being like, okay, what's going to happen next? It's like a train wreck you can't look away from. But the performances are so captivating, and I feel like what Ramsay really understands more than anything is that dynamic so intrinsically in the way that they interact with one another. It feels like, this extremely toxic relationship where the two people can't really stay away from each other because they're just so drawn and they can't help themselves but staying attached at the hip. I really do think that was captured quite well and led to some of the most interesting scenes in the movie, and why I was engaged as much as I was. And of course, Sissy Spacek plays Jackson's mother in this, and she proves once again why she's so great. It has been a fixture for almost 50 years now. She's just such a tremendous actress, and I think that this is one of her better performances in recent memory. Definitely leaves an impression in the movie. And it's also interesting to see Nick Nolte after all this time playing like a senile old man, because I'm just so used to seeing him at this point being middle-aged. So it's like, wow, okay, that's Nick Nolte, but he definitely leaves quite the impact with the few scenes that he's in throughout the entirety of this movie. Now, as great as I do think it captures the headspace of someone going through postpartum, this takes it to insane lengths that not everybody is going to be fond of, and I've definitely had some conversations with some of my friends about this. And even though I walked out of this movie really enjoying it, I loved the dark, offbeat sense of humor that would randomly pop up at the most, fraught of moments, in a way that felt very realistic to this dynamic, and just realistic in general. But the more I think about it, it is one of those stories where, oh, a woman's going crazy, and what is the solution to this? I completely understand those criticisms, and I was actually talked down on this movie because as much as I did enjoy watching it, it does have a lot of issues. There's a lot of plot points that don't go anywhere, especially the subplot with Lakeith Stanfield. And if you know what I'm talking about, yeah, I think everybody kind of agrees on that point. But I do think, even with that being said, there are so many metaphors and certain elements of the movie that don't tie in as properly as they could and come off as a bit pretentious. I think that this movie is very repetitive, and I don't think anyone can really deny that, especially after further reflection. I definitely agree with a lot of those criticisms. So I think if this is up your alley, if you're in for a very, intense romantic film, I don't even know if I'd call it romantic, because I was just like, what the hell is she going to do next? Like, that was like literally me the whole movie. And I think if that's what you're looking for, then great, you're going to get that. But if you're looking for a little bit more, something more substantive, in the vein of something like Night Bitch and If I Had Legs I'd Kick You, which I think both those movies explore motherhood and the concept of it more properly, where opposed to her, it's just like, oh, look at how crazy she is, like that. And I feel like maybe the writers weren't going for that, but that is how it comes off when watching the final product. So I don't think it really taps into that as much as it absolutely could, because the baby's just kind of like a side point in this movie, where it's just kind of, pushed off the side, and maybe that was the point of the narrative, but I don't feel like that really fully, ties into this movie's thesis, and I think it probably should, considering what the subject matter is. So, yet again, check it out for yourselves if you want to, but I definitely think this is one that you watch for the performances and the drama alone, even if it doesn't amount to as much as it possibly could have. So I'm going to give Die My Love a strong 7 out of 10. Definitely a good movie, like I said, but your mileage is certainly going to vary on this, depending on who's watching. So, yeah, guys, you let me know what you thought about Die My Love down in the comments below. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Were you somewhere in the middle? That's what I want to hear, because I feel like this is such a divisive film. But let me know, and please smash the like button, subscribe to the channel if you want to get more content like this. I know I said I was going to do my Pokemon Legends EA review at the end of the week, but it's just been so insane. I'm definitely going to try to get to that, maybe compartmentalize it a little bit, but there's so much to talk about with that game, and so expect that to be up early next week if I do get to it at all. And of course, I'm going to be talking about Train Dreams, Jake Kelly, all the Netflix movies that are coming out within the next month and this weekend, and of course, the hotly anticipated Wicked for Good. Going to be seeing that probably by the time that this goes up, the day of or the day after. So stay tuned for that review, probably at the beginning of the week as well. And I hope you stay well until then, and I will talk to you very soon.